All right, we're live and in person finally. So we are obviously in person. So yeah, I think I just said that.
Yeah.
We were just watching videos from Elvis's birthplace. So gotta get in the mode here. Get in the mood. So how you been, man?
Yeah, it's been a couple months, I guess.
It's
Saw
been
you
a
guys
couple
back
months.
in June, and
Yeah.
Back together again.
Yeah, the part of the gang, part of the Three Musketeers are back together.
Yeah.
Or Four Musketeers. Well, Three Musketeers and some Brits.
Yeah.
We gotta get some. We gotta have a British invasion. That's what we need.
Yeah. Well, hopefully down in Tampa.
Yeah,
Everybody
definitely.
come together and we'll hang out down there.
Definitely. All right, so we got a few folks here. A Nurse in our Travel Bug and Raley Creative Travel, Blaine and Bill. How you guys doing? I don't have the Whataburger cup because it's over there and needs to be washed. But what I do have is some real cane sugar Pepsi. I forgot to even ask. Do you want one of these?
Good. I got my water right here. I'm hydrating.
And the reason I have this, besides the fact it's delicious, is because, well, the birthplace of Pepsi is New Bern, North Carolina. Also, the birthplace of me, not at the same time. And that's 20 minutes down the road from where we are.
Yeah.
We are near the birthplace of Pepsi.
It's cool.
We can take you there. And
we got to go see that.
We'll have to go see that.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the birthplace of Elvis, not near here. Birthplace of me, birthplace of Pepsi. I mean, what more can you get? Do you get extra points for being on time? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. How many do you need, Blaine? We'll give you 5. I can give you 5 extra points. I'm trying to figure out what Talon's doing here. So today we're going to be talking about what Talon? Talon misses her friend Scout.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, Scout's the bearded dragon that Dustin and Leslie have, and well,
they're buddies.
They are buddies. Well, at least in Talon's mind. I'm not sure what Scout thinks. I'm not sure. Scout just gives her one of these.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. Keeping an eye on you.
Yeah.
But you're fine, Talon. Go lay down. So that's right, Bill. We got the associate professor, associate dean in the house, live and in person.
Yeah.
And we've been here at this campground for a few hours. Long enough to know that it's hot.
Yeah. Long enough for the girls to escape and go shopping.
Go shopping.
This is dangerous.
Very dangerous. But supposedly they're bringing food items.
And beer.
And well, that's food items.
Yes.
You know. So hopefully we'll get some food items. We do have some pretty awesome steaks if we don't go out to eat. I don't know. We'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is. Oh, and they just showed up.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is we are talking about ways to beat the heat.
It's hot.
It's hot. And I kind of got this idea. I give credit where credit's due. When somebody steals, when I steal somebody's idea or borrow or whatever, I try to give credit where credit's due. So Nursing Your Travel Bug did a video about ways to beat the heat. I was already thinking about this. So I don't know if Bill was reading my mind, or I was reading his. Either way is just as scary as the other.
Yeah.
And so ways to beat the heat, especially in the South. I mean, it says 90 on that thermometer right now, and my sensor is actually underneath the rear end here, so it's in the shade.
Oh, so it's 90 in the shade.
It's 90 in the shade, and 53% humidity, which I haven't seen that humidity number be under 70 in like 3 weeks.
That's actually pretty good.
So that's really good.
There was a little decent breeze running through here. I guess still kind of some breeze that's following the hurricane through here.
Yeah, we did have a hurricane, and I guess I don't want to make light of it because unfortunately that hurricane did spawn some tornadoes, which you may or may not hear about because sometimes these things don't make national news. But in Bertie County, which is just north of here, I think a couple of people have been confirmed dead, and there's still some people missing from the tornadoes spawned by the hurricane. So keep those folks in your thoughts and prayers as you move on. And so the biggest thing to beat the heat, obviously, is don't stand outside in the heat. Find some shade. Well, I'm looking at that tree over there, and it's about, I don't know, let me say 10 feet tall, that tree maybe?
Yeah, probably that.
Yeah, 10 feet tall. And you know what? Look at that tree. It's not even throwing shade.
No.
It's not throwing a bit of shade.
Not at all.
It's like a ghost. It's like a ghost tree. It's a vampire. It doesn't have a shadow.
Yeah.
So obviously shade. If you can find an RV site with shade, that's number one.
Which we don't have.
Which we don't have. There is no shade nowhere.
So.
Oh, we have something to give Professor Wags too.
Oh, we do.
Apparently, so and I guess we're going to do that right now.
I get paid
because it's Shelly's birthday. We're giving.
It's Shelly's birthday, so I get a gift.
Yeah, where's Leslie?
She stepped over to put stuff in her room.
She can't. It's locked. I have the key. I texted her.
She'll be back in a second. So anyway, so trying to find. Hey, Chatty Cathy. Real quick, because I didn't say this at the beginning. We generally at Tech Talk University, we don't say hello to everybody in the chat because this is a college class. And I just noticed our accrediting authority, Bob's Advrnture, is in here, so we want to make sure we're playing things by the rules. And so we don't acknowledge everybody because it's a college class, so it's on your own honor to be here. But we thank you guys for attending class. And at this point in time, we're going to take a break from the class because we haven't scrolled enough already to give a presentation to, Professor Dustin here.
Okay. Well, now that you're finally at the beach,
okay,
we thought you might enjoy this.
But the Pegasus float. There's actually water. Right?
Yeah, there's water right there.
I don't know if it's like lake or ocean or what it is.
It's a river.
Is it a river?
Yeah.
The Pegasus might make it into the river.
Don't worry, everyone. We'll have footage of this. Yes, absolutely.
Because you did buy the beer, right?
Yes.
So yeah, the Pegasus probably make it the water.
Oh yeah. Does it have cup holder?
I don't know.
We'll figure something out. We'll redneck it up.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll duct tape a Miller Lite to one of the or something there.
We'll put a GoPro on it or GoPro on it. If nothing else, we'll launch it down the river and let it go on its own.
Thank you guys. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So anyway, ways to beat the heat. What we do here, besides running the air conditioner almost continually, is we have in our RV we have solar shades and we also have the blackout shades, and they're both down to provide as much protection as they can. And we also use a material called reflect. That was talent. We also, I know she came and left without you. I don't know what to tell you. She doesn't love you. I do. Okay. We use a material called Reflectix.
Yeah.
And if you've never heard of it, then look it up on Amazon. They sell it at Lowe's and Home Depot. And it's just real thin insulating material. It looks like thick aluminum foil, to be honest with you.
It's kind of like the if you get the window shades that you put in the windshield of your car.
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's just like that.
It's got the little air that's like
it's got air pockets
into it. But yeah, it's kind of like that.
And so we have that lined in all of our cabinets. And in our previous RV, we also had it in all of our windows. We just haven't done that yet. We haven't had a need to, because luckily we have 2 air conditioners in this RV compared to the one we had in the other one. So we are able to, the air conditioners pretty much keep up. I mean, we're about 10 degrees below the outside temperature in here right now, and that's going down. And we've only been here, what, 2-3 hours?
Yeah, so
so we haven't been here very long.
Pretty fast.
Yeah. And of course, in a Class A, you've got that massive window up front that we really need to put some Reflectix on that or something else to help with that, because that'll generate a lot of heat. So that's really the biggest key. And if you look on any Facebook group, the RV Facebook group, when people ask about insulating for either hot or cold, Reflectix is always like the #1 thing that comes up. And because it is so light and easy to use, you can cut it with a pair of scissors, so you can cut it to fit anywhere, and it just works great. So that's one thing. The other thing, obviously, is to make sure your air conditioners work.
Exactly. Yeah, we were, I think, like 6 weeks without our, well, not without our bedroom air. The capacitor went out on our bedroom air conditioner, and when the capacitor goes out, really the only thing the capacitor does is kick starts that fan. So if the capacitor goes out, the fan won't start, which won't blow cold air. So basically what I had to do is every day I had to climb up on top of the roof, have Leslie kick on the air conditioner. When I heard the buzz of the compressor, I had to spin the fan by hand, and then it would catch and it would kick on. But I had to do that every day for about 6 weeks.
That's a great video of that too.
Oh man!
I was wondering if you were going to come back with, you know,
Mangled.
come back looking at your flashing gang signs because
Yeah.
you lost fingers. But the other thing, and I'm not going to move the camera. The other thing you really should use, especially if you have a larger RV. And when I say larger, I'd say anything over like 20 feet. Is fans.
Yeah, air movement's important.
Yeah, a fan can make a huge difference in the cooling, and also for those of you who have air conditioners that are ducted, so you have actual air conditioner vents like we do here, and I know you do as well. Make sure the vents are open.
Yeah.
And number one, and they're blowing in the right direction. And you know, and then whenever you move the RV, that can change. I mean, just the movement of the RV could either close the vent or turn it so it's not blowing in the right direction. So you're not paying attention, and you have a vent that's blowing against the wall.
Yeah.
And that's really not helping anybody. And you're standing here in a dead spot that's 1,000 degrees. So make sure you got that. And also, just like in a regular home, these things have filters, and you've got to maintain those filters. You got to keep them clean.
Yeah.
We bought, the way our system works, on one side is all the outlets, and on the other side is the inlets. All these right above us are inlets. So we got like a, I don't know, 300-400 little circular filters to clean.
Wow.
So
We have 2 main inlets, and they're like big rectangular shaped ones. But that's
there's 5 right here.
to it. Yeah.
So making sure they're clean. Excuse me. Some people say, you know, make sure you do that every month. I say you make sure you check them. You definitely need to do it at least once a month, but you probably should check them more often than that, especially when, I mean, like right now, this air conditioner's been running since we showed up, and it's probably going to keep running until the night. So, I mean, the longer it runs, the more, you know, junk, especially, you know, once you get to a campsite, because we're going in and out, so the doors open, so we got dust and everything else coming in. So there's more junk getting up in these filters. So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea for us to change those. We haven't changed them in a couple of weeks.
Are yours, you have to change them, or can you clean them and put them back in?
Both.
Okay.
We can clean them, but we bought extras.
I got you.
Because, excuse me, I don't have anything.
Yeah, ours you can take out, you can clean, dry them, and then
Yeah.
just pop them back in. They're like made out of like a, it looks like steel wool, but it's more like plastic.
That's exactly what we got.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we got. And when we were at the Tiffin Rally a few months ago, they sold a pack of like, I think it was like a dozen or a dozen and a half, or I think it was like $5. So we bought
Pretty
them.
good.
Because that way we can replace them all, wash and clean the ones we have, and they can just air dry out.
Yeah.
And be good to go.
Now here's a little hack that we have done before, and it actually works. So a couple people do things differently. So the vents up there, some vents in some RVs are adjustable, where you can slide them and open them up more, and some are fixed. Ours are fixed on the angle of the vents, but you can spin to which way you want the air to go.
Okay.
But the vents themselves are fixed.
Gotcha.
So on a really, really hot day, we have done this before, we have taken the whole cover off
Just let it go.
and just let it blow straight air until it gets cooled off enough, and then we'll pop those back in. We've also seen people who have, for the people who have fixed vents like we do, have like cut out every other slot so that there's a bigger hole for air to flow through. We haven't done that because I really didn't want to chop up our vents, but it's something you could do.
Drew has another thing here. People is water the roof of the RV. You can do that, but you might want to check with the office first, or they might ask you to leave because they might consider you're trying to wash your RV.
Yeah.
And that's frowned upon in a lot of RV parks. This one specifically.
Yeah, and you got to just read the rules.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, even in the rules that they give you, it doesn't say whether you can or can't wash your RV, but we always ask anyway.
Yeah, and just a quick tangent on that, because I saw some stuff on social media yesterday about some other YouTube channel got all mad because they got kicked out of an RV park because they had a package delivered and it was against the rules.
You gotta ask.
And so they made a big deal about it, and I still don't know if that's the whole story because you only heard the one side. But they got like 30 or 40,000, or 30 or no. They got like 500 or 600 subscribers out of it so far.
Hey, that's a good deal.
So they're around 6,000 subscribers down this particular channel.
As
long as they're telling the truth, the whole truth, because they said the cops showed up for them to be evicted too. So there's always more to the story.
Extreme for a package being delivered.
You would think, but anyway, and John said he saw that video too. So yeah, always ask. If you're not sure, ask the office if it's okay to do whatever. You put water on your roof. Some RV parks, I mean, again, we're swirling here. Some RV parks will get mad at you if you like try to, I've seen people that have weed eaters and they'll just clean up their spot when they get to it. Yeah. Some RV parks will get mad at them for doing that.
Yeah, or leaf blowers or anything like that.
So
they don't like you messing with their landscape.
Yeah. So, it just ask before you do anything outside of the normal camping activities.
Yeah. And we haven't talked about outside yet, but on the same lines, some RV parks will let you put up your pop-ups and some won't. So again, you got to check. We have a pop-up because we like shade, especially. You can't always pick the orientation of your RV and where the sun sets and rises on it. So we do have a little 8x8 pop-up that we'll sit out under. But some places won't let you put those up.
Yeah, that's true. So, and another way to keep cool on the inside is to keep the sun off the outside with, like, if you have an awning, and the sun's on that side, put the awning out if weather permits. And that can make a huge difference. I know when we were in Alabama, it seems like only last week.
It was.
Oh, it was, yeah. Because the campground we were staying at used to be an airstrip, so it was nothing but concrete. We would once the sun the afternoon sun was on the passenger side, I dropped that awning out, and you could instantly feel the temperature drop inside just because the sun's not beating on the window, even though the solar shade was closed and the blackout shade was closed.
Yeah.
So it's really important, because most RV windows are not insulated at all unless you get into the big money diesel pushers.
Yeah.
You're not going to see the insulated window because they're just heavier, so they don't put the insulated windows in most RVs. So you've got to do something to keep the heat from coming in. When we had a Class C, we put a cover over our windshield in the front windows, but I put Reflectix behind it. So it was a layer of Reflectix. This is on the outside.
Yeah.
So that made a huge difference in keeping that front area cool. And another thing is, if you're not using an area, block it off. We've got. I know you can't see it, and I'm not moving the camera, but imagine, if you will, a Class A motorhome with two front seats. And a lot of people will put like a tension rod across there with a heavy curtain for both winter or summer.
That's a big window.
That's a big window, and that's a lot of area to heat or cool.
Yeah.
And you tarp that off, and that actually makes the air conditioner or the heater, whatever you're trying to do, work a lot less.
Yeah. So what do you prefer? Because John is on here talking about the orientation of the RV2. Where do you guys prefer your sunset and sunrise to be in relation to your RV?
Off the camper.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't have shade, if like right now we're sitting. So I'll explain the RV park that we're sitting in right now. So it's basically a big circle, and around the edges there is a wood line around all the back end spots, and then down the center row is all the pull through spots. We are both in pull through spots. In the center, there's no shade anywhere.
No.
So
no hope for shade.
No.
I mean, you got a light pole right next to your rig. But you know what? It doesn't have a shadow either. I don't know what's going on there. So, for us, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be hot either in the morning or in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Now the one nice thing about our particular RV is our bedroom, that area, because there's only a couple of small windows in there, it's pretty well insulated.
Yeah.
And plus, with the Class A, it has that fiberglass cap on.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just see that?
She just jumped over.
She leaped over everything.
That's pretty impressive.
Actually, we got some talon sightings here. So,
Just trying to get.
yeah, she's laying down.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys can look at Talon's butt. But because we've only got a couple of small windows on either end of the slide, then we've got a small window on the other side, and that fiberglass cap on the back. That fiberglass cap is basically insulation.
Yeah.
It has a big air pocket in there between the wall and that, so it actually stays really cool or really warm, depending on the time of the year, back there all the time, which is awesome because we don't wake up, in sweat, and we don't try to go to bed in sweat, which we did a lot in our Class C.
Yeah. We prefer the sun to set on the opposite side of the door so that we have evening shade.
Yeah.
Because our own RV will provide us with. Because in the morning time, we don't get up super early anyway. So in the morning time, we can put our awnings out, which help because the sun's coming from this way on the door side. And then in the evening time, when the sun's setting, we can sit in the shade out front. And plus, all of our windows are on the door side.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So all the back side is slide. You got the refrigerator, the stove, the kitchen, the TV, all that stuff. So that really is a barrier when you get that sun blaring in those windows. I mean, you can stand a couple feet away from those windows and feel the heat.
Oh yeah,
out.
Definitely. Because again, no insulation.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things you guys do in your RVs to beat the heat and to keep your RVs cooled down? I know people, and this is an old school redneck trick we've done for years. We'll get the cooler full of ice and put the fan on it and just let it blow across it. And that works.
It does.
And it works really well.
Yeah.
Back when I was a commercial fisherman, I'll show you some of that stuff this week too.
Cool.
That's one of the things we did because we didn't have air conditioner and it was hot.
Yeah.
So
for the fifth wheel, for us, we have the upstairs, which is the bathroom and the bedroom, which has its own air conditioner, and that's a really small space. And then downstairs, we have the one air conditioner in the big, huge downstairs space, and it doesn't keep up as well. So what we do for that is we will open up the bathroom door and open up the bedroom door, and then we put a fan right there at the top of the stairs, blowing down toward the big living room area, so it takes that cold air that no one's really using anyway,
right,
and kicks it down into the big living area.
Yeah, and one weird thing, or not weird thing, but kind of concerning thing is because in this RV, all the outlets for the air conditioners on that side and all the inlets are on this side. Our bathroom is right on the other side of this wall right here. So there's no air conditioning vent in our bathroom. There's two inlets.
Oh.
So it gets a little toasty in there sometimes, especially if you're trying to get a hot shower.
Sitting that side of the RV. Yeah.
Exactly. So so if you ever come by, make sure you knock first because we leave the bathroom door open to let airflow in.
Yeah.
And sometimes airflow in a bathroom is important for a lot of other reasons besides the cool.
Oh yeah.
Just
you want
saying.
the bathroom to be super hot.
No, you don't. Or closed in.
Yeah.
So I'm reading and ignoring most of these comments. Artist on the Road is in here right now, and they very observantly noticed that we're in the same room.
Yeah.
So that's an extra 5 bonus points on your end of semester exam for that one. So that's great. I'll tell you too. One thing that we like to do to keep going is just using the little tower fans. I know I mentioned it earlier, and we have a Dyson fan, and they're not cheap, man. Well, nothing with Dyson. Nothing Dyson is.
No.
And I always said I'll never own that because they're ridiculously expensive. But we've got the Dyson vacuums, little stick vac, and that thing is awesome, and it doesn't take up any room.
Yeah.
And that's well worth the money. And we bought a little Dyson fan, and that does heating and cooling, and that thing's amazing. So having strategically placed decent fans, and the other thing too, the nice thing about the Dyson fan is it doesn't have any blades or anything, so there's nothing that gets mucked up. Like if you look at this fan over here, If you look on the side of it, look real close to where the air's coming out, you'll see a bunch of towel hair, like sticking straight out like this.
It just collects it on the intake right there.
Yeah. And but no matter what fan you have, if it has blades, those blades collect dust, and it doesn't take long for the effectiveness to really drop down. So make sure you keep the blades of your fan clean.
Yeah.
And when you do clean the blades of your fan, make sure the fan's off. Just pro tip. That's a pro tip.
Those blades hurt.
The blades hurt. I mean, not as bad as a drone blade.
Those hurt too.
Those hurt a lot, from what I hear. So I'm told. That let's see, Camp Theory has a little 5-inch battery operated fan in the bathroom because there's no heater or AC in there.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And you know, RVs, unless you're in extreme hot and extreme cold, RVs do a pretty good job of heating and cooling, but very few do a great job of circulating that heat or cool.
That's true.
So that's where you need your fans, or pointing ducts in the right direction and all that other stuff.
Yeah, and luckily we have a ceiling fan in ours, so in the living room area. Anyway. So it circulates.
Yeah, we have a ceiling fan over our bed. If there was any angle on those blades, it'd probably be great.
Yeah, ours doesn't really circulate.
But
really great.
You know, you want an angle, because the angle is what moves air. That's how planes fly. Well, propeller planes.
It's science.
It's science. Yeah. When they don't have a lot of pitch to them, there's the word, pitch. Says the Air Force guy trying to figure this out. Wearing the Air Force shirt even. The blade thingy, there you go. There's the technical term. If it doesn't have enough pitch in it, it doesn't push a lot of air. And these don't. And I've actually looked, because this is a 12 volt. I don't know if yours is 12 volt too. They're all the same.
Yeah. Pretty flat.
It's like, why can't you just
tilt it a little bit?
Just a little bit. Just give me a little something.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could always go in there with like some washers and bump up one side.
Yeah, probably.
But I got a feeling that would just cause the whole thing to explode or something.
Yeah. So the downfall of the Reflectix. The downfall of that is it's unsightly.
It is.
It looks like you get tinfoil in your windows, and that's the thing that Leslie really didn't like about it. And so what she did was she took the sticky Velcro and she put little pieces around the windowsill, and then we cut the Reflectix to fit the window, and then put a little couple of the other side Velcro on the Reflectix. And so it's really easy to install and uninstall.
Yeah. So
when the sun goes from one side of the RV to the other, you could just rip those off one side. The next day, you just pop them right back on.
Yeah. Now, what we had in our Class C, we had I just used Velcro strips. I just cut little Velcro strips about yay long and just put them around it. We had big windows, like this window behind us, that size. So we just strategically put them around, and then we just put them up there. So it wasn't creating a seal.
Yeah.
So it wasn't doing as great a job as it could, but it did a better job than not having it there by far.
Yeah.
And it's funny with our Class C, it was noticeable right off the bat when we put it in. When we put the Reflectix in our cabinets here, it was noticeable. I mean, I've got one of the little temperature gauge guns. Yeah. And if you don't have one of those little digital, temperature guns, you need to get one because they're just fun to play with.
We have one for Scout.
Yeah. See?
We got to regulate his temperature where he's at.
But I think they might be hard to get now because that's what everybody uses now to make sure you don't have the Rona.
Yeah.
I mean, it's instantaneous. It really does work. The older your RV is, or some RVs are. I hate to use the term because I know it's a lie. 4 seasons RVs.
Yeah.
So instead of having this much insulation, they have that much. Yeah. So instead of the 1/8 of an inch, they have, a 1/4 of an inch insulation. But
so the other thing is just expectation. I mean, really, you can expect your RV to get you down to about 20 degrees cooler than the outside temperature, and that's about it.
Yeah, and it's not going to be instantaneous.
No.
You got to work to it. And every single time you walk out that door,
it raises the temperature.
Yep. And so you're almost starting from zero. So you want to keep your RV cool, stay out of your RV, don't open the doors, and let the air conditioner run, and it'll cool down.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really all you got to do.
And don't move around.
And if you are in the RV, don't move. Don't move.
Yeah. So I hear people, and I'm on the Facebook forums and things like that. People are going, it's 100 degrees outside. It's 80 inside my RV. I'm miserable. I'm like, 80's pretty good.
80's pretty good. That's 81 in here right now.
Yeah,
it feels pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Because 80's tolerable. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Because you're out in the 90 plus degree heat humidity plus the direct sunlight, so the heat index is probably almost 100 degrees. Setting up your RV, putting the jacks out, putting your stinky slinky out and water hose and all that other stuff. I didn't hook up the cable TV. Did you hook up the cable TV?
No, not yet.
I got to hook up the cable TV. So you do all that. You're hot and you're sweaty.
Yeah.
And especially if you have an RV that everything, you've got to manually raise the jacks and all that other stuff.
It was tough. I had to push like one whole button to level the RV today. I was spent.
Usually the RV's level before I even open the door. I don't even have my seatbelt off in my RV's level.
That's cool.
And then I could do this and open my slides.
Oh, wow, that's cool too.
So yeah. Because what is it? K&R Destinations, they call it the Tesla RV. Yeah. I wish.
But you're right. After you do all that stuff.
Yeah. Going into some places 85 or 90 degrees actually feels really cool.
Yeah, I walked back in today after setting up, and it was 87 degrees in the RV, and I was like, this feels great.
Yeah, I know, and it did. And
then 20 minutes later, I'm like, it's hot in here.
Yeah, it's all about perception, right? I mean,
yeah. Our
blinds that came with the truck camper keep it fairly cool, but we also have 4 seasons that are well insulated. Yeah, so if you can, and it's really amazing. I keep going back to the reflectors we put in our cabinets. It's amazing how much a difference that can make, and it's really amazing. I mean, first of all, it's easy to do. I mean, you can just use some double-faced tape. For most of these, we didn't even tape them. I mean, you can see that one there is open over there. Well, you can't, but Dustin can.
If you just cut them a little bit bigger than the size, they'll just snug right in there.
Yeah, cut them a little bit bigger than what they need to be, and just snug them right in there. And it makes a huge difference just doing that because there's no insulation on the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever watched one of these RVs being made, whether it be the one I'm in, or your Montana, or whatever, or the Coleman camper, or you don't have much more insulation than a pop-up. You really don't.
No, really.
You just, instead of the pop-up has the fabric and you have metal, which just gets hot. So, because hey, insulation adds weight, adds cost, adds time, so they don't put a lot in them. So just keep that in mind. So wherever you can insulate your walls, insulate your walls. Now I have seen people do the reflectix from floor to ceiling.
Oh man, yeah, we would never do that.
So then it looks like you're in a microwave. And
is that Heisenberg?
Yeah. You got some kind of Faraday cage going on, which I guess you'll be safe from an EMP blast, but
yeah.
So do what works for you. I mean, in some cases, you may have to do for the ceiling reflex. I mean, you just might. I mean, it just depends. But because it just depends. Some of these are well insulated, but even though well insulated ones probably aren't well insulated everywhere.
Yeah,
so and it's always the weakest link that's going to get you. Because we can't even keep our bread. We kept some bread in some of these cabinets. It almost became toast.
Yeah. Just it kills things way fast. Heat kills things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something else to keep in mind when you're actually trying to plan where you put stuff.
Yeah. And actually, a lot of the things that we're talking about for heat also applies in the cold. I mean, you can still use the reflectix for when it's cold out, to keep the warm in, and the furnace versus air conditioner, all that stuff that you do, the same tricks that you do for the heat, you can do in extreme cold also.
Exactly. hey, insulation works both ways. So anybody else got any tips out there on keeping your RV climate controlled? I guess the best way to put it. Hot or cold, depending on where you're at. Again, the Reflectix, that's the one you're going to get everywhere. The one you don't really hear as much about is just doing good maintenance on your air conditioning. We talked about that. That also includes you got to go up on the roof every now and then.
Yeah.
You got to go up on the roof and make sure that you don't have stuff clogging up the inlets to your air conditioning unit.
That's true. Whether they're bent, if something hit them,
Yeah.
If they're all bent up, they're not going to have good flow.
Yeah, exactly. Because if there's anything blocking those inlets, then all you're doing is you're making the air conditioner work harder, and it's not doing anything but working harder, which means it's probably going to break sooner.
And if you've ever seen a radiator on like a big truck, and something hits it, it like smashes all those inlets.
Yeah.
So you
all
have to
those
just take
veins.
like a flathead screwdriver and just sort through each one, bend it back out to where that air can flow back through.
Yeah, so Bill's like working on Reflectix on one side, decorative wallpaper, shiplap on the other invention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think they do make like white Reflectix.
Yeah, I think they do
It's a little
have.
more expensive, I think.
I think they do have it, or it's at least a solid.
Yeah.
Because Reflectix again is not a solid. It's got like little air pockets in it, so it's not a smooth finish.
Yeah.
It is solid. It's not smooth. That's the word I was looking for. Make sure you're insulated around your doors. Yeah. Oh.
The door can be a killer, man.
Yeah, the door can be a big killer.
Because they don't insulate doors
No.
at all. It's a door. That's it.
You know, at night, have somebody out with a flashlight, just going around the edge. You sit inside and look.
Oh yeah.
And then whenever you found it, you know, start filling in the gaps. You know, and I don't want. I mean, there's that spray foam insulation stuff you can use. You got to be real careful with that stuff. If you're going to use that anywhere.
For sure.
I've known people to use that in some of their storage, trying to use it in their storage bays, especially the wet bay, because they were scared about stuff in there freezing. I think you're better off with a wet bay, and I'm glad ours has this. Our wet bay actually has a one of the furnace ducts goes into the wet bay.
Okay, cool.
So whenever we're running our furnace, hot air is going in there, which is awesome, because last year when we were in like sub 20 degree weather, I mean, there was highs around 28, so we were below freezing for a week. I'd open up the door to the wet bay, and a little cloud of steam always would come out. Like, I just want to crawl up in there. That's like the warmest place there is.
Nice and warm.
And so not every RV has that. Some people will put a heater down there. Be very, very careful if you put a heater down there for a lot of reasons. The biggest one is you can't see it, so you don't know if something happens to it.
Yeah.
If you're going to put a heater down there, I would say probably a good idea to put some kind of remote control, like heat sensor, down there, or heck, even a smoke alarm. I mean, just something as basic as just going and buying a $10 smoke alarm from Walmart and throwing down there. Because if something does happen, you want to know right now.
Yeah.
If you do that, and get a small heater, and get like an infrared heater, because they generally they're not hot themselves, but they put out heat. So just be very careful, because I've seen and heard some horror stories on that, and also well, probably going to be a horror story because something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Light bulb. Yeah, for most people, that's absolutely right. A light bulb heats up enough, and that's really all you need. And if you're honestly that concerned about it, turn your water off.
Yeah. Use your water pump.
Yeah, turn the water off at night, and you're good to go.
Yeah, when we were in cold weather this past winter, what we did was we would fill up the freshwater tank, and we would completely disconnect from the water, and turn the water off, and just use our pump at night. And then during the day, when it got warm enough over freezing, we'd hook back up to the water, refill the freshwater tanks, use that water connection during the day, and then when it started dropping again, we would make sure the freshwater tank was full, disconnect, and do it again. Yeah,
that's exactly what we did too. Because and plus we have a heated water hose.
Yeah, we do too.
We used, but you're in trouble when you go to the campground, and the spigot has a heat wrap on it.
Yeah.
It has the electric heat
It
wrap
gets
on
cold
it.
there.
It gets cold there.
Yeah.
And that's the way Little Rock was.
Yeah.
So we would run that all day long into the night, and then like right before getting ready to go to bed or whatever, just go out there and shut it down.
Yeah. And we started doing that because one of the spigots at a RV park froze.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have the heated line all day long, but if the spigot freezes, it's still no good. So you got to have, and we actually learned that the hard way because ours froze, and then we had to run a line to our neighbor's water to fill up our fresh water until ours thawed out during the day. So just save yourself the time and just use your water pump if it's below freezing if you can.
Yeah. So Susan at New Horizons knows everybody using for security monitoring system. Actually, we were just talking about that before this because I'm actually putting together a video on security monitoring, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. We're putting a video together, Susan, and that includes cameras. And I'm going to say this already because I know Avenger RvLife is going to say this. One thing we do use is we use Visible for our internet. Not here because crap Verizon signal here. We're using AT&T, the service that I kept saying I'm going to do a video on, but I haven't done a video on yet. We're using AT&T right now. But with a phone, any old cell phone that you can connect to Wi-Fi, so it doesn't have to be the Visible phone. There's a program called is it Alfred? Am I saying that right? Avenger. I think he's the one that told me about it. But what it is, it basically turns your phone into a motion sensing security camera.
That's pretty cool.
So I usually have the phone set up because I got my cell phone holder up there. I'll put that Visible phone in there, which is a direct line to that door.
Yeah.
So if anybody opened that door, plus I have the Ring doorbell. So if the Ring doorbell doesn't get them, Alfred will get them, and if none of those will get them, Talon will get them.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not, but
Scout won't get anybody. Scout would just watch them Bravos. Like, oh, good day, sir.
Yeah. Exactly. So our neighbor in San Antonio took a 5-gallon bucket and put it over the water spigot and put a droplet under the bucket to keep things. Yep.
That'll work.
Yep. I've done that.
Yep.
I've done that for a long time, not necessarily in RVing, but in other situations. Yeah. The problem is you don't do this with an LED light.
Yeah, no, it's not going to put off enough heat.
You need an incandescent light bulb. Because it's not the light that keeps it, it's the heat that generates for the light bulb. If you throw an LED out there, all you're going to do is your pipe's just going to freeze the next day. So
it'll be lit.
You'll be able to see. You'll be able to see where
that it's frozen.
You'll see that it's frozen for sure. Absolutely, yep. And Alfred out. Yeah. So I've got a couple of cameras that I'm using, a couple of different cameras I'm using, and I'm waiting on another one. Hopefully. And compare them, and I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, the thing is though, it's very dependent on internet.
Yeah,
but you have to have internet.
None of it matters if you don't have internet, because most likely if somebody breaks into your stuff, one of the things they're going to do is they're going to steal your cameras too. And so if your cameras are only saving video on them locally, then they're gone. You got no proof. You got no proof. And so you got to make sure whatever cameras you're using can actually upload instantly to the cloud. Because if not, then what's the point? I had to winterize our new 2020 Tiffin RV. Picking up Mississippi last February in Hershey. Yeah. So you had to throw out too that it's a 2020. He wants me to know. Yeah. That's the way Mr. Roboto is. That's why those Navy guys are.
That's 2020.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know.
Yeah, but
we have never winterized.
Just kidding, Mr. Roboto. You know I love you.
And we don't plan to because we weren't even planning on being in the cold weather we were in, and from now on we are planning to not be. So we don't plan on winterizing ever.
Right. I mean, there was a very specific reason I got rid of a lot of long sleeve stuff. You know, I'm looking at I'm looking at all my running gear because I'd run half marathons and stuff like that in pretty chilly weather. I'm like, no.
We have a hoodie. I have a hoodie. That's my winter gear is my hoodie.
I have a hoodie. I do have a kind of heavy jacket because I literally just bought it. And I got some jeans.
Yeah, I got some jeans.
So that's about it.
That's about it. If it gets to where I need something more than a hoodie, then I will pack up the RV and drive farther south.
Yeah, see, he's just digging. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh, Liquid Springs.
Liquid Springs. Yeah, I was just telling him about Liquid Springs today. We are not getting Liquid Springs right now. We were almost ready to get them. We got the Coney shocks installed last week, and they made a huge difference. I know the Liquid Springs will make an even bigger difference because I've test driven a 34 PA with Liquid Springs. So I know exactly the ride difference, but I think for now, we're going to save on that expense because he's trying to get me to buy him a car with the money it would cost me to buy the Liquid Springs. But yeah, that's the whole point is I don't want to be in extreme hot weather. I mean, there's a reason we're not in Florida right now.
It's super hot. I mean, it's hot enough.
And it's got nothing to do with, you know, whatever your feelings you have about pandemics and stuff. We're not in Florida because, well, same reason we're not in Texas.
Well, I mean, we were in Dover, Delaware 2 weeks ago. It was in the mid-90s, man. Yeah. It's hot.
Yeah. So, you know, this is the time of year when we need to visit Yankee Land.
Yeah.
You know, be up north somewhere. But because of all the craziness going on, because you guys are going to go up to Niagara Falls.
We were, yeah.
So that would have not been 100-degree heat up there.
No, it would have been very seasonable. And I think that I've seen a lot of people are in Michigan right now.
Yeah.
Which seems to be very nice weather right now. So
which part?
I don't know.
Yeah. You got every ask somebody from Michigan to do this.
I don't
know. So yeah, that's our cold weather and warm weather strategy really is to avoid it. Avoid the extremes.
Yeah, and I don't know. I would rather be, and if people have their preferences, I would rather be in the heat, not because it's more comfortable, because it's more manageable in an RV.
Yeah.
There's less work to do in heat than there is to do in cold. So for that reason, I'd rather be in the heat.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. And, you know, I mean, I grew up here. So,
you're kind of used to it anyway.
So I'm used to it. I'm not, I mean, people make fun of us from the South. Oh, you know, you got half an inch of snow, you guys close everything. I'm like, exactly. Exactly. And all you people up north, it's 3 foot of snow on the ground and you're trudging into work. I'm sitting at home watching TV in the heat. So who's the smart one here? You know, and so, but, you know, I don't want to be, I mean, RVs aren't made for extremes. Well, some are.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes that's an extra zero.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't see any of the extreme weather RVs in this particular campground at the moment.
I'm trying not to even use my 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
I don't even want to use that ever.
Yeah. So, you know, that's the key, guys, is best way to insulate from extreme temperatures is to just move.
Yeah. And so one of the other things that we like to do also is eat ice cream, because that cools you down.
Ice cream does cool you down, yeah. With cake too.
Yeah, so I recommend, you know, on a hot day, you know, get yourself a popsicle or some ice cream, and really
we had some good ice cream last time we were together.
Yeah,
and we're gonna have some good ice cream. That one place I was telling you about.
Yeah, and we have some adult popsicles in our RV over there. We had a couple of those last time you guys were with us in Durham. So yeah, that'll beat the heat a little bit too.
Yeah. Stay hydrated, obviously. Stay hydrated, and that means water, not sodas or alcohol. Alcohol is actually the worst if you're trying to stay hydrated, even though it tastes good. I'm going to give it. We only got 10 minutes left, so any questions out there? Not just about keeping your RV climate control, but any tech-related questions. I know Susan had a question about security systems. We kind of talked about a little bit and teased about a future tech talk or a future video, depending on what happens. But does anybody have any questions about any of this stuff of a tech related? So the other thing I need to do a video too of is my air compressor.
Oh yeah, I'm curious to see about your air compressor.
Because we might have to put it in action here in a minute.
Yeah, you got a little time.
No, you gotta.
Oh, I gotta blow up the thing. Yeah.
You gotta blow up the thing.
I have an air compressor, and I got mine from. Let's talk about them real quick.
Okay.
Since no one's asked a question yet. I got mine from Harbor Freight, and it's I think it's a Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And it's not great.
Okay, mine came from Harbor Freight as well. I don't remember the brand name, but it's small. It's literally like that big.
Yeah.
And it has a 12-volt connection, or it uses I think it's either an 18 or 20 volt, cordless drill battery.
Okay.
And that's what I use. It's just that battery, because then I don't have to worry about plugging it in anymore.
Exactly.
And that battery stays charged. I don't even know the last time I charged the battery.
Yeah.
It stays charged.
So mine I got hooked to the battery in the truck,
Mm-hmm.
and then running over the thing, and then it struggles at the high tire pressures. So it really struggles. It overheats and then it'll kick off.
Well, mine's good to 160 psi.
So I probably need to relook.
Okay, a couple of questions. Drew wants to know what mic we're using. We're using the my Razer Kaio webcam, and it has a built-in mic, and we have an air conditioner right above it. So that's what we're using right now. And Doreen, we gave away a travel router at our 1,000 subscriber giveaway.
Yeah.
Our 1,000 subscriber happiness, and Doreen at Camping Therapy won it. And the travel router, and we'd email back and forth a little bit. There's an instruction book, the booklet that came with it, and it'll tell you exactly how to set it up depending on what you're trying to use it for. If you're trying to connect it to a Wi-Fi hotspot, or if you're trying to connect to a wired hotspot, or whatever. So you just, and it's really simple to use. And if you do run into questions, obviously you know how to get a hold of me. And also, I actually walked through setting up how to connect it to a Wi-Fi internet source. I walked through that in my visible video that it was actually one of our first videos ever, and our second most popular video. So you could actually see it step by step on the screen how to do that. See, Tumbleweed RvLife uses the. This is the one I hear about all the time. Is people using that one?
It's good, yeah.
And now I had bought a Cobalt from Lowe's. It was like this big, and it worked great. I blew up. I was running 100 pounds on all 6 of my tires on the RV, and it blew them up great. And I used it once all the way around, and then like a month later I used it once all the way around, and then like a month later I tried to blow up one to get it to 100, and the thing is rated at 150 or 160.
Yeah.
And it went, and I was like, okay. Well, I took it back, got another one. Boosh.
Ours is,
I did it 3 times in a row, and I finally bought a pancake air compressor.
Yeah.
And from Lowe's, but the box was about as high as this table it came in. I was like,
yeah.
I don't want to carry that big thing around.
It's too big.
So I was like, I got to go back to the old standby, which is Harbor Freight. I always forget about Harbor Freight, but Harbor Freight's awesome. And I found this. I mean, it's literally this big, and it's red, so it's kind of festive.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it blows up everything. I mean, it's got attachments so you can blow up air mattresses or unicorns or whatever that thing is over there.
Yeah.
Pegasus. And it was like, I think it was like $50 for the compressor, and then the battery I think was like $30 or something too. So all in under $100. And like I said, the battery stays charged forever.
I'll check yours out while I'm here, and then if I like it, I'll go get one from Harbor Freight. Because the Viairs are I've heard nothing but good things about the Viairs, but they're really expensive.
And they're kind of bulky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they are great though.
I'm sure he's asking about my shirt.
And we got that. So, yeah, and if you don't have a compressor, you need to get one.
Yeah, because the alternative is going somewhere with your RV to air up a tire, and last thing you want to do if you have a low tire is to take your RV somewhere on a low tire.
Right.
So you really need to air up wherever you need to air up.
Yeah, exactly. And heck, the prices that places charge, if you can even find a place that the air compressor is actually working,
Yeah.
most of the time they're busted, then by the time you find one and you spend anywhere from $2 to $5 to blow up a couple of tires, you don't have to do that too many times. You could have just spent $50. Okay, Roy says the pancake air compressor isn't very good. Now the one I have isn't a pancake one, and again I need to do a video of it. So but again I love it. I've had it now for almost a year. So and I use it all the time. It works great, and it's not too overly loud. That's the other big thing.
That's good.
It's not too overly loud. So definitely need to. And an air compressor is honestly a piece of safety equipment. It really is, because and in combination. And I guess when I did my TPMS video, I should have done the air compressor video because they kind of go together. They're both ends.
Yeah.
Is a tire pressure management system. No matter what size RV you have, you need to have a tire pressure monitoring system. Now, I saw a guy on Facebook the other day talking about this. He's like, why do you need a TPMS? I've got, good old standard, $5, tire gauge. It works just fine. Yeah, it does. But you're not checking that tire pressure driving down the road, are you? No.
If you got a slow leak, going 65 miles an hour down the interstate, you don't know it, the tire's going to come apart eventually. And then when it does, well, so if you have, especially those folks who have like a triple axle RV, one tire can come apart and you not even know it.
Exactly.
Because those other tires are still supporting the weight of that RV, and that tire that just came apart is just ripping your RV to shreds, and you got no idea.
And ripping your siding to shreds. You're ripping the wiring underneath to shreds.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's just really bad. So, a TPMS again is another inexpensive insurance policy. So there's a lot, and honestly, I think most of the blowouts you see on the road is people with over or underinflated tires, and they have problems and they're not monitoring them, so they don't know. Like if my tire starts overheating, it beeps. I pull over. It's just that simple, and I go check it out because it could be for any number of reasons. I mean, we talked about tire pressures and weights the other day, especially if you've got an overloaded trailer. Not that you may know if you had an overloaded trailer or not, unless you actually go weigh it. But that puts a lot of pressure on tires, and they get hotter. And possible gas lines too. Yeah, you could actually rupture a gas line in a drivable RV, or a gas line in any RV. You talk your propane.
Yeah, and so it could save you a ton of money. It could save you your whole RV. It could total your RV out. It could damage someone else's property, which you'd be liable for if the tire comes apart. It's just, it's expensive, but it's worth it.
It's cheaper than the repair.
It
by
definitely
far.
is. Yeah, it's cheaper than a what's it called when you pay the deductible? It's cheaper than a deductible.
Yeah.
So it's worth it.
And don't forget, if you do have an insurance claim, that just means your insurance is going to cost more for a long time afterwards too.
Yeah.
For the most part. And no matter what, a good idea, and I guess we'll end on this. You covered RV refrigerators and a 12-volt fan on the back of older ones and inside of older ones does miracles. I'll say this: it doesn't matter if it's old or new. A fan on the inside will do wonders because those things have a hard time cooling down, and they cool down by the airflow's got to circulate. And if you've got it packed full of stuff, it's hard for that air to circulate, so it's hard to cool down. So yeah, definitely having a small 12-volt fan will definitely keep stuff cooler.
Yeah.
All right, so we are at 59 minutes and 22 seconds. So we're going to go ahead and call it a class for today. Thank you guys for coming. And I will say this, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're celebrating Shelly's birthday. Her birthday's actually today, but we're going to have a celebration live stream. So come on out and say hello to Shelly. As I always call her, she's 19. Because that's how she was when we got married, and she always will be. So, is Traveling Down the Banisters actually going to be doing a live now? That's awesome. I know they've been jumping back and forth, so thanks. Avenger always keeps me straight. So thanks a lot, Steve. And guys, again, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Appreciate you having me on.
Talon, well, you can kind of see her. Talon's bored. So thanks a lot, guys. Go check out Traveling Down the Banisters, and we'll see y'all later. Take care. God bless. We love you.
Bye.